Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. My name is Bill Horan, along with my co-host, Nassau Community College student Zach Turkel. And today we're shining the spotlight on Long Island's largest and most active nonprofit running club.
Let's get our heartbeats going, Bill, by introducing you to the Greater Long Island Running Club.
And joining us today is Mike Polanski, the president of the Greater Long Island Running Club, along with Sue Fitzpatrick, their executive director. Mike and Sue, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
All right, we've got to start off right at the beginning. What is a running club and what's its purpose? Can't I just go out and run by myself in circles like little kids?
Everybody can, but if you've got a network of people, you're more likely to keep up with it. We found over the years that running together is more often than not much better than running alone.
And there's a lot of camaraderie.
Well, Bill, I got a great idea. How about you and I create our own running club and we'll run around in a circle together?
I'm with you. It's shorter. I think Mike and Sue have distance in mind, and we're not built for distance.
You can run any distance you want. You can run a mile, or you can run, a marathon. Doesn't matter. Just get out there and move.
We weren't thinking of a mile. Didn't you hear running around the table or running around the studio? 10, 20 feet is our pace. That's more.
There's a saying: if you want to run a mile. If you want to change your life, run a marathon. If you want to talk to God, run an ultra marathon.
Oh, jeez.
How long is that? Could you give us an estimate? Because I might have to prepare myself for that.
Yes, I think you're going to.
50 miles, 100 miles, and on and on.
Oh. After the show, I'm going to ask you, what's wrong with those people? Why don't they have anything better to do to run at 50, 100 miles? I mean, 26. A real marathon is 26.2. Is that right?
Yes, it is, yeah.
And that's miles.
Yes, 26.2. When they say people who run ultras, that they've gone to the dark side.
Okay, I believe that, certainly.
I'm sure there have been people that just ran across Route 66 all the time. When and how did the Greater Long Island Running Club get started?
It was started back in the late 70s, just a bunch of guys and gals running around the track. It was then Plainview Old Bethpage High School. The group sort of got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then somewhere in the end of 1978, we just started a club, and it's all been uphill from there.
Wow. Now, who can join the club? When I think of running, there's people you see that they run high school, they run college, and they're just natural runners. They have that nice gait about them. So is there qualifying? Do I have to be as good as an Olympian or a college runner or whatever, Sue?
Now, anybody can be a member of the club, and we actually have a lot of members who don't even run. We need volunteers at races, so we have people who are club members that just volunteer at races. They enjoy the camaraderie that way. And we have people that, run a mile and, of course, up to the ultramarathons. But we also encourage people to walk at all of our runs as well.
What about water boys?
We need help at water stops.
All right.
How old can I still be a water boy? I mean, Zach qualifies, but I'm a little older than him. You may not have noticed, but
you can be a boy forever.
I like this
That's
club.
True.
This is fitting in more. Now, one thing, and we were talking about it before the show too. Someone here is 26.2 miles. I mean, if you're not a runner like me, I mean, you're scared and you say forget it. But you actually said in some of the races you can walk it, you can be part of it, and there are lesser gradations. So tell us about that.
Well, you can. We have, as I said, we start out our shortest race we have is a 5K. People can walk or run it. We have 15Ks. We have 10Ks. So people can run any, a lot of distances to choose from our races. And we only have a few races where there are time limits. Those are the longer races. But all our other races, we strongly encourage people to come and walk if they just want to get out there and be a part of it.
The whole key is participation.
Get in there and have fun.
Yeah.
And just for those of us who are not into the running numbers and designations, 5K is about a little over 3 miles?
3.1. And the 10K is 6.2.
You know everything right down, the math teachers, right? So 3.1, most of us could handle that. And as you said, if you want to walk part of it, I mean, no one's out there beating on you. And people do walk at the races I've seen. There's a lot of fast walkers who get in there and aren't going to run 3 miles.
Some of the 5-kilometer races, the finishing times are over an hour. People just walk it at a 17, 18, 19-minute pace, and it's a good thing.
Which is a real I walk a lot, and that's a real walking pace. So, I mean, without pushing someone, they don't have to feel, I want to say threatened, but, scared that they're not going to keep up or collapse. All of us could handle that just about.
We encourage it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
Even
that
Zach?
there's
Even Zach?
hopefully.
Even Zach.
And I'm glad because that there's no real time limit because, you know, when people think about running, they think of the Olympics when there is a time limit. So I'm kind of glad that even marathons, they'll time, you know, how long you've ran, right? But they won't time, you know, you have to finish in this amount of seconds, right?
Well, you do have to. Most marathons have time limits. New York City is not one of them. New York City, people take 8, 10, 12, 15 hours to finish it. But most of the smaller marathons is either a 6 or a 7 hour time limit because the police want to open the roads.
Right. It's more, from what I understand, more for the travelers, et cetera. But you and I, Zach, I think we better look for that 5K. I think that's
what I'm going to try to
That's going to be our beginning pace.
We will let you finish no matter how long it takes.
That's a personal from the president. You've got that right here. So.
I'm very thankful to have that. So what kind of services do you offer to your members? I know you mentioned that. I mean, anybody can be not just runners, but they could even be water boys. What other services do you offer?
Well, we first and foremost we do publish a magazine, monthly magazine, Footnotes, and so our club members get that magazine every month, and club members can participate as a volunteer at all of our races. We need volunteers. The only way that we can get our races put on, they can work at the water stops, hand out waters to the runners, help guide them along the course. We also have some programs. Right now we have a program called Run Smart going on, which is for people who are gearing up towards a 5K, 10K, half or full marathon in the spring. Then we will have another program starting in June called Run Start, which is for people who are very, early on new runners. And Zach, I think that might be, a calling for you.
Probably.
Zach, you're in trouble. They've got your name now.
But here's the thing. I'm going to need people to cheer me on. That's the thing.
I'll cheer. I'll be a cheerleader. I'll wear the costume. If he can run, I can cheer. So I'll cheer you on,
yeah. So, we also have, for instance, we have another program, Junior Triathlon program for youngsters up to from ages 8 to 13 to get out there and try triathlon. So we're a multi-sport club as well.
Zach, I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, I just want to let our listeners know that you were listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Zach Turkel, along with Bill Horan, and today we're talking about the Greater Long Island Running Club with Mike Polanski, their president, and Sue Fitzpatrick, their executive director.
Folks, you just said something, Sue. I think it was called Run Smart and then Run Start, right? Two different programs you have. To me, I think that's so important today because so many of us, we see everybody with the cell phones and the video games, etc. To get out and do something physical, if they enjoy it, they can try it. It doesn't hurt to try something. But you meet new people, you meet different friends. And I know the running world, I mean, you can be next to your professor from school, you can be near an entrepreneur or virtually a homeless person. I mean, you have a lot of different people who enjoy running. You would not think corporate executives, and yet they're out there, musicians, it can be anybody.
We have run alongside of Dr. Hubert Kane, who is the president of Nassau Community
College. That's right.
College.
You mentioned that to me, and he was on our show here, so now we have a double connection there.
There you are.
But you really, it's so open to the kids. It's a great way if they're not getting that physical activity or maybe not enough of it, or some of us just aren't good with the ball sports, the soccer and the lacrosse and the football. Just about anybody can run, right?
Anybody can run, absolutely.
What about a bet? Like if you want to bet on someone that you know that you want to see run around the track, because I want to see our boss who's in the control room, I want to see him run around the track.
Ooh, if we entered him, we chipped in and paid his dues. We're seeing his head shake the other way now,
Sean
but we paid for him. Can we get 26.2 miles out of him? And,
that's up to him, really.
We have a lot of students at Nassau, so they would be out there cheering. Go, Sean,
I think
go,
they're able
Sean.
to wait trade. Yeah.
We're going to torture him about this now. You know that. We may not be here next week. We lose our jobs for this.
I know. It might happen.
Now, every business, every organization, you're a nonprofit, but how do you raise the money to run these events? Because there's a lot that goes into setting up any event.
Well, we put on a lot of events. We raise money through managing road races, and not only road races, triathlons. We do a couple of trail races. We put on about 30 events a year. We've got a couple of really big ones coming up. June 2nd, which is a Sunday evening. We've got the Integrated Medical Foundation National Cancer Survivors Day Belmont Stakes 5-kilometer run. That's at Belmont Racetrack, and you're going to be finishing the same finish line as all the horses finish at. It's an exciting
I want to
race.
sponsor Zach. Right now, I'll pay his fee if he'll run the race. I will do that.
Yes.
This will be a treasure here. We'll put his picture up here, him against a horse. That's what I want to see.
Well, there's no horses actually in the race.
I'll bring my own horse just to torture him.
The
So,
horses are at the Belmont Stakes, which is 6 days after the race that we put on
but
for
the people actually run on the Belmont racetrack.
Yes, they do. They finish at the finish line.
Wow.
But do they have the horns? You know,
Yes, we do. We have the New York Racing Association bugler starts the runners off on the course.
And Zach, this is a run-walk. We strongly encourage walkers to participate in this. We don't want everyone to think they have to run this. We want to have everyone there to run or walk the 5K and finish on the racetrack.
Wow, I'm getting more convinced. I'm going to have to do it.
Honestly, yeah, and you could raise money for a good cause, the way I'm understanding. Is that right?
Yes, this is for National Cancer Survivors Day, and it raises money for Integrated Medical Foundation, which is doing a great job of raising awareness about cancer and how to prevent it and how to treat it.
This could be Zach's true calling in life, because he doesn't do much for society, but basically he eats chicken McNuggets and helps out the Uber company. But if we could get him doing, I mean, I think this is something we have to get behind here at Nassau Community College. What other ways, though, do you raise money? In other words, is this on a usual event? Are there sponsors? Do people take out ads on shirts? Are there stands that they sell hot dogs or footballs or photos or something?
Well, we have our sponsors that help us put on races, and by having sponsors, it enables us to put on the races and then raise the money for the organizations. Every race that we put on is raising money towards some type of a charitable organization, and we actually donate quite a bit of money annually to a lot of organizations. So sponsors are very crucial to our continue to put on these runs.
We have a lot of obviously wonderful businesses on Long Island. So if they want to get in touch with you, or if they're saying, "Gee, I'd love to sponsor a run," etc., how do they do it?
Well, we can be found on the web at www.glurk.org. We can be emailed at info@glurk.org, or they can give us a phone call, 516-349-7646.
What's a GLURK?
Yeah.
GLURK is Greater Long Island Running Club.
Okay, to us, we didn't know what that was. So
Sounds like an alien.
GL, Long Island, GLIRC. Okay,
Yes,
that's GLURK. Okay,
yes.
You know that, we don't, so we want to make sure. And I think you mentioned before, if someone just wants to volunteer because of the camaraderie, or maybe they were a runner, they're older now, or maybe a little incapacitated, don't feel they're up to running, they could just help you out and be helping a good cause and raising money for cancer or another charity that might be of their choice. And is that the case?
We love our volunteers.
Yeah, we all of our races, we need volunteers. There are some races like the Suffolk County Marathon for veterans that we put on in October that takes over 300 to 400 volunteers to put that on. Our smaller races, we might need just as few as 50 or 60, but they're all crucial to being able to put on the event. We actually have online registration for our volunteers, or they can also email us or at one of those email addresses, or call us, and we can provide them with the information as to who to get in touch with as the volunteer coordinator for each event.
And is there any qualifications for a volunteer that they have to know about, or should they volunteer a month ahead for training, whatever the training might consist of, et cetera, et cetera?
No, anybody can volunteer. Ages 12 and under, they would need to be accompanied by an adult, but you can be a first-time volunteer, and all of our volunteer coordinators are very helpful in giving information ahead of time as to what they need to know to do. Handing out water at a water stop is very easy, holding out shirts beforehand. And our volunteers also get a giveaway, whether it's the race shirt or whether it's another giveaway that we have. So there's always, something that the volunteers do get in return. And also, if you're a student, we have community service hours. So I know that's important for, middle school, high school, and college. So anyone who wants to volunteer for community service, they can do that with us, and they'll get their credit.
And even if it's a one-shot, it's a great experience. They're taking part in it. They're helping out a charity, and they might find out that they like it better, or if not, they move on to something else. But as you said, it's a great event to put on your resume and to talk about. So,
and it's a lot of fun to volunteer.
And a lot of fun. And you get to meet a lot of new people. Folks, at this point in the show, we're going to take a brief break. My name is Bill Horan. I'm here with Zach Turkel, and we're talking about the Greater Long Island Running Club with Mike Polanski, the president, and Sue Fitzpatrick, their executive director. You're listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I feel like if I didn't have anyone to push me, I wouldn't give a bother to do it. I got one milestone down the drain, and now I got to work on the next. I see the future is really bright for me. I feel like it doesn't matter the age, as long as you go back and get it done. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
No one gets a diploma alone. You have more support than you realize. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
My Hometown is made possible by Herald Community Newspapers. For more local news, visit liherald.com. Got a story to tell? Call 516-569-4000.
And now we return to My Hometown.
Thanks for being with us today here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Bill Horan, and I'm here with Zach Turkel. And today we're talking to the Greater Long Island Running Club with their president, Mike Polanski, and their Sue Fitzpatrick, their executive director. Zach?
Well, you mentioned earlier that you have a publication, and I love the name about it, Long Island Footnotes. I really like the name. So, can anyone subscribe to your monthly magazine? I remember you mentioned earlier that it's for members, but what about the general public?
Well, the magazine is part of your membership, and it gets mailed out monthly to our club members. We do also have them available at all the local running stores, so if anyone is not a member and they want to read the magazine, they're more than welcome to go to the local running stores and pick one up.
I've always found those magazines are helpful. I mean, they're just inspirational. You read about someone who started out and they couldn't run a block or even walk a block, and they got going, and it tells you what sneakers to wear. All of a sudden, I'm getting into running, and I'm the worst runner in the world.
If you read the magazine, A, you're going to be motivated, and B, you're going to get a lot of information. We have a full schedule of Long Island races in the magazine every month. A lot of information that people can take advantage of, and all it takes is $30 a year.
No, that's very moderate, and if you're into anything, I don't know if you can even go bowling for that anymore, and certainly golf, even one round of golf exceeds that. So $30 for a yearly membership, and meeting the people and the camaraderie of it, which is what I think most of us really enjoy. That's right. Probably a great incentive to join up and be with people. And I think you said to me you're based in Plainview, is that right?
Right, our office is right off the Long Island Expressway, Sunnyside Boulevard in Plainview.
Easy enough, and easy for both Suffolk and Nassau residents, and
Absolutely.
Those people from Queens can come out to the wilds of Long Island.
We have a few members in Queens as well.
Okay,
yes.
I figured that. Now, you have over 30 events annually, if I understand it. Now, we think of a marathon, we hear about the New York and the Boston ones, but for the non-runners, can you tell us some of these events, and are they all marathons, or are they different type events?
We do a lot of 5-kilometer races. We do a large 10-kilometer race, 2 15-kilometer races. We put on a 10-mile race. We put on, of course, the Suffolk County Marathon and Half Marathon. The Markham Workplace Challenge, I should mention that. That's the largest participatory sports event on Long Island. It's held in Jones Beach State Park the last Tuesday evening of July every year, and we attract about 10,000 runners, representing their companies, their businesses, whoever they work for. That's why it's the Workplace Challenge.
Wow, that's. I mean, you're amazing me when you say that. 10,000 people on the last Tuesday in, when was it, July?
July, correct.
That's a huge number, and administratively, when we were talking about volunteers before, boy, you must need a lot of people when you have those events.
Yes, we do need. That's an event where we need over 300 volunteers, and it's an all-day volunteer event. We start out 10 o'clock in the morning. Volunteers show up, and we start getting the goodie bags packed up all the way through. Race time is at 7 p.m., and we have volunteers that we need on the course and the water stop. So it's all spread out in the day, but it's a big event.
You know, I think for colleges too, we have so many on Long Island, and young people, high schools. It's great to see what goes into these events, even if it's volunteering once or twice a year, just to see, because you don't appreciate how many hours go in to make something smooth. You know, we complain, oh, the bathroom is 100 yards, I didn't want to walk more than 10 feet, or where can I get a hot dog? But the people who make them go on, the golf tournaments, tennis, and running, of course, they're so valuable to it, and there's so much that goes into it. I think it would make us all appreciate more if we give a little time to that.
As a matter of fact, being a seasoned runner myself, a lot of people that I've known running for a while haven't volunteered. And then all of a sudden they'll say, I'm going to volunteer at the next race. And they volunteer. And I'm amazed that they are suddenly realizing how much fun it is to volunteer. They'll say, this has been a lot of fun. I'm going to volunteer more. So just step out of your comfort zone, volunteer at one event, and I'm sure it will just sort of flow and you realize it is a great thing. You'll cheering the runners on, they'll be thanking you, and you'll get a sense of accomplishment out of it.
And you can kind of be part of the athletic community even if you're not a runner or if you're not physically fit like somebody next to me over here. But, okay, that's okay. We just pick on Zach again.
That's what we're going to do throughout the whole show. So you are also raising money for other charities and organizations. How much money have you donated since the Greater Long Island Running Club has began?
That's a tough number to come up with, but last year we raised about $400,000 in total for various charities. Nice. Well, over $100,000 of that comes from the Markham Workplace Challenge, where we support the Harry Chapin Organization, the Long Island Children's Museum, the Long Island Medical Fund, and the Long Island SPCA, Nassau County SPCA. So we raised money for a lot of very worthwhile organizations. That's really wonderful.
I mean, again, people don't realize the amount of money for the time you put into it, for what the volunteers put in, but the good it does. And when an event or an organization is helping somebody, it's because of people like you running an event, running a race, running a golf outing or something to help make that possible. So thank you.
You're quite welcome. We try.
You do. It sounds like you're doing a great job. And 400,000 is impressive. That's. I don't know if you get much time to sleep between 30 events. No, seriously. I mean, if we think of a nonprofit like, it's light work in that, but running 30 events, anybody who's run one dance or a golf tournament or something at a school knows how much work goes into it.
My friend Sue here never sleeps.
Okay. You get a little sleep, though.
A little bit.
Sue doesn't get the sleep. The president gets the sleep. The executive director doesn't get the sleep.
Don't let him fool you. He's in the office very early. Quite often he's there by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, sometimes after he's already done his run. So he puts in plenty of time as well.
But I have the feeling from talking to both of you, and you certainly exude this, that this is something you honestly love. Everybody's going to have a bad day, but that you love, you enjoy doing, and you know the power of what you're doing. If 400,000 is going to help people and charities and also runners who enjoy what they're doing, it makes life a little easier.
It sure is, but it's a labor of love. There's no question about it.
No, you can see that, and definitely that. How do you go about training? Do you get involved with training future runners?
Well, actually, as I mentioned earlier, we have our Run Smart and Run Start programs, which are for beginning runners. The Run Start is specifically for beginning runners because it's geared towards running around a track and getting people who have not run before. They do, start walking, running, and gearing up towards running a 1 mile race on Labor Day weekend. Our Run Smart program is for people who tend to have been runners already but want to, get a little bit more training, a little more formalized training groups. So we help out in several different types of runners.
All right, I just want to let our listeners know again that you are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Zach Turkel, along with Bill Horan, and today we're talking about the Greater Long Island Running Club with Mike Polanski, their president, and Sue Fitzpatrick, their executive director. Now, what do you offer for beginning runners, someone like me who self-admittedly hasn't done any exercise in, well, I don't really want to
define
give a specific
a long time,
but I would say a long time.
Third grade, maybe fourth grade, something
maybe,
like that.
But
what could you do for this guy?
Yeah,
our Run Start program this summer would be a perfect opportunity because it is for beginning runners.
Okay,
and you're on a track. You don't have the fear of running out on the roads. It's a bunch of people just like you as far as your experience in running. Mm-hmm. Getting out there on the track with the qualified coaches, you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Now, something big in sports today, we're hearing, a lot of head injuries in football and sports that involve physical contact, etc. How is injury prevention going in your field? And I would think it would be a lot safer than the others, but maybe not. So you tell us.
Well, go ahead.
No, anybody who runs, you have to be, you're prone to injury. You have to be careful. You don't want to go out and all of a sudden run 5 miles if you haven't run before. So for Zach, if you get a Run Start program, they'll, get you running, slowly getting up to running, a mile or more. But you do have to be cautious. And actually, in our magazine, if someone picks up a copy of it and looks at it, we actually have many people who advertise in there that can help you out if you do do get injured, podiatrists and physical therapists and chiropractors, so you can find out where you find someone you can go to if you do get injured.
And the positive end of it is that running is stress reducing. If you had a bad day at the office, 5 o'clock, 5:30, you go out in the roads, run 5 miles, and you feel a lot better about yourself.
That's a great point, because we dwell on the negativity, even if we just can't get a parking space. We think that, right? Most of us do it. Or if the waitress yelled at us in the restaurant or something, whatever it might be. But if you're out there running, not only are you out there with your friends, you're out there exhausting, you're burning up some energy, but you're probably going to sleep better. All those pills you're taking, you don't probably need a lot of them. And it's going to make you physically feel better, even if it's just the physical, but also the mental approach to life, that I'm doing something to make myself feel better.
Absolutely right.
And so tell me about your I was looking at your website, and it is dedicated to youth programs. So what type of programs do you offer for children, and starting at what age?
Well, as I said earlier, we do have a program for our junior triathlon training program for gearing up towards our junior triathlon that will take place the last weekend in August. We have fun runs with a few of our races that we encourage the youngsters to run it. We actually have a women's run in July where we have a little women's fun run once around the track. So we encourage the youngsters that way. So all of our races have youth divisions as well. So we encourage the younger runners, competing against the other kids their age, and they can, hopefully get, run and compete, and they are eligible to win awards.
Sue mentioned the women's race. We stage every July for the last 30-something years the Long Island Women's Run, the Runner's Edge Long Island Women's Run. It enables women runners to compete without the pressure of worrying about men in the race. The first person overall is going to be a woman. Second person overall is going to be a woman. It's a very excellent event, and people appreciate that one.
And what about the real competitive runners? The man or woman the high school, college runner, they're out there and they're looking for time. Do you have anything for them?
Oh, absolutely. Every race is at the front end competitive. Every 5K race is going to have somebody winning it in 15 minutes and change. Every 10K race is going to have somebody winning it in 37 minutes and change. There is always a competitive end of it. We don't focus on that because we're trying to be all-encompassing. But there are a lot of very competitive people in our club and at our events.
And we all know that friend or neighbor who's saying, gee, I'd like to lose a little weight. I'd like to get a little more into it. You don't have to pay for a gym. It's one fee for a year, which is probably less than one session at a gym, from what you said.
Correct.
And it's a good way to get outside now. The weather is beautiful. Get yourself in condition, get out there, and meet a lot of new friends. If we want to do that, now it's a lead into your website and your phone number.
Yeah, well, we can be found on the web at www.glurk.org, or they can email us at info@glurk.org, or they can give us a call at 516-349-7646.
Spell GLURK again, please.
GLIRC stands for Greater Long Island Running Club.
You should get T-shirts. What is a GLURK? And I'm one of them. And have you seen a GLURK today? We want to thank our guest, Mike Polanski, from the Greater Long Island Running Club. He's the president, and Sue Fitzpatrick, their executive director. Mike and Sue, thanks so much for being with us today.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for having us here.
I'm Bill Horan, along with Zach Turkel on 90.3 WHPC. Thanks for listening to My Hometown.